Hello and welcome to this video. So basically what it is about, I have two lines here as you can see, and I have a shortened line that is drawn on it like this. As you can see, if I move my object here, I have the shortest line between the both of them. It seems easy, but basically there is almost no functionality in Unity that allow you to have that directly. And there is almost no documentation except a lot of mathematicians explaining you how technically it should be done, but not how it should be done in Unity. So here is this video where I try to explain you a bit how you can do it. You can find the code on the gist here, so you have the code in the description. So you can copy it, but I remind you that it's an ugly code, completely not review, maybe some bug, but at least it's something to start on it. So yeah, it's just a warning before we start, a disclaimer. So how we do that? Technically, it's not so easy. So to give you a bit of an idea of how I can do that. The idea is that if you try to solve mathematically this problem, it becomes quickly ugly. So what you want to do is to take all that and put it on the axis 0, 0, 0. So if I put the debug log here, you can see that there is some line that I draw, but basically all my computation are done on the 0, 0 axis over there, as you can see here. If I put the exaggeration to 0 here, you can see that this shape here is shaped over here. So what does it look like? Something like this. So you have a start point, an end point, a start point, an end point. So to be able to compute this line over there, so that's what you try to achieve, a perpendicular line between this one and the one here. You want to have this. And when you have this, you can splash on the 2D plane those two lines, and you can find the cross points of those two lines. And when you have the cross point of those two lines, you can draw here a perpendicular to the plane. And like this, you can have a rectangular angle where you can divide it at the edge of it. And this line over there, it's the shortest line on the 2D plane. Okay? And when you have this line here, the direction at least, you need to compute the length, and that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'll show you a bit how the code works. So, first of all, we have a for transform with radius if you want to not use just line but capsule. So line with volume. You transform them in vector tree. That's what I'm doing here. And so now that we have 4 vector tree, we need to find the forward direction and the upward direction of this new plane. I mean this plane. So the triangle here, it forms something like a plane, and we want that and have those axes. So to have this one, the forward one, what you can do is just you take this point and this point, you divide by 2, and you have this point. That's what I'm doing here, like this. Now we want the up one. So the up one, what you do is that you take this point to this point and this point to this point, and you do what in mathematics we call a cross product. It means that if you have two axes like this, you want the axe that is perpendicular to those two lines. Okay, so this line here. So as you can see, the up vector is this this one. Why we have the start point A is because the less start point A is because you want to redirect all those computations to a 0, 0 axis. So as you are computed over there, now you need to put it on the 0 axis. I mean, you try to compute from there to there, so you need to remove this point vector to arrive over there. Okay. So now that we have the forward and the upward direction, now and that we put them on the 0 axis, we need to rotate them. Okay, and how do you rotate them? You basically try to find the forward direction compared to this direction, the upward, And like this, you have a quaternion. And a quaternion in Unity, it's just a rotation, a type of rotation, okay? And basically it means that I take my 3 axes like this, and I just do the inverse of the rotation I need to go over there. So if I need to do that to go over there, I do the inverse. And if you do that, you have a relocation angle. It means an angle that allows you to move all these objects to the to this coordinate. If you don't understand me, it means that you need to work your quaternion, or that I'm really not clear. And in both of the case, you need to try to understand this line and review what is a quaternion and what is quaternion inverse, and look rotate. If you don't know those words, go on the doc and come back later to the video, because there's a lot of rotation. So now that we have the relocation angle, it means that we can take those 3D points and relocate them to a local 3D point. That's basically what I'm doing here. So I take the point I want to compute, I relocate it to the 0, 0 axis, and I rotate it to have the Cartesian axis to the 0, 0 Cartesian axis. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit long because it's hard to explain, but that's the idea of the first part of the code. Now, the good part of all this shit is that we can have something that is really clear to understand. It means those line over there, okay? So as you can see, if we look at the Unity axis here like this, up, it means that we have here a start point. There is the end of this point over there on the bottom, and that's a line, and the other line, so that's 1, that's 2, and it's flat on the axis. Okay, so what we will do here, what we will do is we will try to find the track point xz. It means this point. Okay, so how we do that? We splash the vector tree. Okay, and it means that we have this point here. But to find the one that is here, what you need to do is to do a line intersection between this line here and those lines here. So I use a function that I found on the internet. That's because someone did it for a 2D vector. It's here. I don't remember the source. It's why I put not my code. I lost the source here. But basically, this code here allows you to find the cross section, the point in the between of two lines, if those two lines are on the same plane. So that's what happened here. So now that you have this code here, you can find this point here. So now that we have this point here, it means that we have means that we have the up axis, the one that can go upward of this. So now that we have him, it means that we have him, and it means that we want to have this one. So we don't have where it go, but we have the direction of it. Okay, it go upward from here. So what happened is that you need to do this. Basically, if you want to have this, okay, you need the angle that is here on the bottom. And can you see it? Because shit, it's up like this. So we try to work on this. So you want to have this direction and you want to have this distance. So for the direction, it's you need the angle here to be able to do a Quaternion rotation, like whoop, from up there to there. So to have this angle, you can do like me and lose your time by computing, because you have a 90-degree here, and so if you do this angle less this angle, you have this angle, and if you have this angle with this angle, you can have this angle, or you can use your friend that tell you that this angle is the same than this one. And mathematically, it's true. So you don't have to compute all that, you just need this one. So what we will do is that we will multiply this vector up by a quaternion that does this rotation. And like this, we will have a direction that go from there to there. Okay, so that's what happened in those lines. So I take the alpha, that is the down, that is this point, and this point. So we have this angle. So vector 3 angle of those 2 points. We have the alpha. So now that we have the alpha, we do a quaternion loop rotation that go from up direction to track point xy. It's missing 2 seconds. Let's go from up there. Then. Oh yeah, it's because what I did is that to have this this axis here, I try to have the quaternion that is looking from there to there, you know. And when you have this rotation that go from there to there, you can multiply it by this quaternion here. Okay. So to find the quaternion that go from there to there, I'm just saying, could you give me the rotation of the vector up? And like if I'm looking over there, from there, up, I'm looking there. And so we have this beautiful angle. So now that I have this angle, I want this angle. So how you can have it? You do another rotation. So Euler, for people who don't know, is that when you rotate like this around the axis with an angle. And so we do a x axis rotation like this of 90 degrees to be able to go from there to there, and less the alpha to go here. And when you do that, you have this. So if you multiply look in this one by angle rotation, it means this one, you have this direction. And when you multiply a quaternion by a direction forward, it gives you this direction that we are looking for here. Cool, now we have the direction of the shortest line of our 2 lines. Woohoo! But we still need to compute the length of it. It means, okay, we know that it goes in the direction of this one to this one, but we need the distance between both of them. Okay, so if you do a bit of trigonometry, we have a rectangular triangle here. So we take the angle of this one on the hypotenuse that we know, and multiply by, and the 2 of them multiply with a sin, like this, mat sin of the angle in radian, radians, yeah, in radians, multiply by the hypotenuse, and you have the length of our friend over there. And ta-da! You have basically compute the direction of the shortest line and the distance of it. But you need to take those local rotation, those local shortest line, and to put it on back on your mesh line. So what you do is that you take the relocation angle we computed earlier, you do the inverse of it because you want to go back to the original position, and you have the rotation. Now you take those new point you can compute it, you multiply by the relocation, and you add the original position of your mesh, and like this it go back to the wall position. And ta-da! Basically, when you do all this shit, you arrive here where you have 2 points that are the shortest line between 2 lines. And so here, the last code you see here, it's if you give some radius to your line, you can have some volume. And here I'm just saying, if the line is larger than the two radius added together, it means that the two lines are not touching. And if it's shorter, it means that they are close enough from one another. And that's what you can see here. Ta-da! So if I move our friend over here, it becomes red when it's too far, and it becomes green when it's too close. Ta-da! So we still have a small adjustation to do, and I speak it to the end because it's a bit weird. But here, as you can see, the line is disappearing when I'm too far. Okay, what's happening? It's that if we look at the origin, axis, you can see that it's easy to compute those lines, but they are really short in distance, and so it's fucked up a bit the computation. So what you want to do is to exaggerate them. So if I do 1.5, you can see that now it's not a short line, but it's a long line like this. Okay, and if I do 100 like this, it makes a very long line. So now we are not computing the intersection of two sections of line, but of two real big line. And like this, you can easily compute the line when it's far or in a weird angle. So you can see that now if I move it like this, what's happening? Up. So it's a bit weird, but as you can see, if I would prolong those lines over there and those lines over there, that should be the shortest line between the both of them. So it's a bit weird when you're not used to that, but that's the idea. That's where there is the less distance between the both of them, but it's outside as it's a line and not a section here. So yeah, basically now you can compute with the code I gave you what is the shortest line between two lines in Unity, and so you can make basically collision between two lines, and that's perfect if, like me, you want to do bullet collision, but that's subject of another video. If I do a video on the subject. On that, I hope that everything I gave you is enough for you to make your own code on the subject. Have a nice day, and feel free to ask questions on the commentary or on the Discord if you need. Bye, and may the code be with you. Cheers.